Hello, welcome to your hip mobility workout today. Today's all going to be about your hips, obviously, but primarily we're going to be focused on your hip flexor. So that's that muscle right in front here that if that is tight, guess what? Your hips are also going to be tight. So we're going to be working on mobility and stretching that muscle out so that you can squat deeper, hike steeper, all of the good things with your legs and have your hips not be so incredibly tight. All right, so what you're gonna need today is a bench. Actually, if you have like a couch at home or anything that's like this height, the height of like your kneecap, that works perfectly fine. So you don't have to do this in the gym. I actually like to do this when I'm sitting at home watching TV. It's a nice, good stretch, and I get to watch something mindless and not think about the stretch that's going on here. So you'll need a bench or anything equivalent height. And then I just have two really light weights that you're gonna be using in one of our exercises. So you don't have to have the weights, but I think it's helpful to get into a deeper range of motion. The last thing, not mandatory, but if you want to, you can grab a mat to help with some of the movements, especially when we do them on the floor. So that's it, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'll walk you through everything that we're doing. I'll time you. Hopefully you have maybe like a show or something on the side, because if you have tight hips like me, this probably is a little bit uncomfy. So we're gonna get started on our bench. What you're gonna do, plant your left leg, and you're going to step that right foot on top of the bench. So you're in this kind of like runner's stance here. Your left heel should be directly in line with your knee, and your knee should be at like a 90-degree angle here that you're creating. So if your foot is too far in, you'll notice the 45-degree angle. If it's too far out, you won't feel the stretch enough. 90-degree angle on your left foot. You'll notice then once you sit up, if your hip flexor is super tight, you'll feel a stretch immediately right here. If you don't feel the stretch, lean back a little bit more until you feel it right here on your right hip flexor. And what we're gonna do, we're just gonna hold it. We're gonna chill out here. The goal, okay, should be to try and get that right heel to touch your butt. Mine's like probably about that far off. When I first started doing this, I was probably that far off. So go as far as you feel the stretch in your hip flexor. And we're just gonna chill here. I know, it's a little bit uncomfy, maybe a lot of it uncomfy if you're really sore. You're about halfway. Has anyone watched Severance lately? Season 2 just came out, and I'm so excited to watch it. I love that show. I'm a big Apple TV fan, actually. Ted Lasso, anyone? Amazing. All right. You got 5 seconds, and then we're going to switch sides, and we'll see how your left leg fares compared to your right. Go ahead, switch sides. So same thing. You're going to want to be, this is actually a great spot if you want to put a mat under your knee. Feel free to do so. Okay, 90-degree angle with your right leg. See, my left leg's actually feels a lot better than my right. So I'm trying to push my heel without bending forward like this. I'm pushing forward with my hips. Okay, so you push forward with your hips. If you don't feel anything, you're probably just sitting here like this, leaning forward a little bit. You really want to press those hips forward. You're like halfway through, by the way. Press those hips forward, and then you try and get that left heel to touch your butt. And you'll notice that maybe your right side is a little bit tighter than your left, or vice versa. That's totally normal. Don't freak out if you're not as mobile on one side versus the other. 10 seconds left. And then we're gonna move on to something else. We will come back to this though. Don't you worry. I lied, you had 20 seconds, so 10 seconds now. Okay. And relax. All right. Whew. Go ahead, stand up. You can shake those legs out if you need to. That definitely felt tight for me. What we're gonna do next, and I really like having the bench for this, but if you don't have a bench, that's fine. Try and come up with some benchmark. Haha, benchmark. Okay, so you're gonna be on all fours, and I'll show it to you from this side first, but I'll tell you the reason I have the bench. So your left leg is gonna come out directly to the side. You're not too far forward, and your leg is not too far back. It's directly out to your side. What you're trying to do, without leaning all the way to your right, you're keeping your core engaged. So do you see I'm kind of relaxed here? Core is now tucked in. You're gonna lift that leg up, keeping equal weight in right and left hands. You lift that leg up, hold, and come back down. So you'll notice what I said earlier about you don't want to shift all your weight to your right. That's not really doing anything. You keep equal weight in your right and left hands. That's the challenge. Okay, so what I like about the bench, you're aiming to lift that leg to bench height. So lift it up, hold, drop it back down. Try and keep that weight distributed evenly. That's the hardest part. Okay, one more. So that would be 4 total now. Okay. Switch sides. I'm gonna have my leg facing you, but normally I would use this bench kind of as like a height benchmark and try and lift my leg as high as this bench. Here we go. All right, you're on all fours. That right leg now comes directly out to the side. I like to grip with my fingertips here. You tuck that core in, okay? And here we go. You're gonna lift up. And this side's actually better for me for some reason. You've got 4 total. Don't forget to breathe. This is very uncomfortable for me, so I sometimes do forget to breathe in these. Okay, great job. The next exercise we're gonna do is with our lovely weights, and you don't have to use the weights. If you wanna just sit in a butterfly and use your elbows, that's fine. I like the weights to just give me more leverage to push my knees down. So I'm gonna put my back against this here so I'm not rounding. You're seated in a butterfly, okay? What I'm gonna do is grab, I like the kettlebells because they're like a ball shape, but you can use any weight. And we're gonna time this one again, okay? I'm gonna set the weights. So do you see how far up my knees are right now? That means my hips are pretty tight. So what we're doing here, go ahead, set those weights on. Actually, I need to start my timer. Okay, and now, go. What we're doing is we are increasing the range of motion of our hips. So you can see these weights are helping me to increase that range of motion, because naturally my knees would want to be a little bit higher. And again, we're just gonna chill out. I think this is like the perfect Netflix and chill activity. I know it has a different meaning, but we're Netflixing and chilling right now. Or Apple TV and chilling, you know? Pick your poison. All right. And after all that mumbling, you've got 20 seconds left. Breathe through it. And with the weights, if you're not using weights, you're gonna need to press down on your knees. But if you're using weights, you don't need to like actively press down. The weights will pull those knees down for you, which is amazing. You can just kind of hang out up here. All right, you're done. Cool, cool. So we're gonna go back to where we started with our lovely bench here, our lovely assistant. So go ahead, get your mind right. We're gonna go back to being a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe this time you feel a little bit looser, which is great. That's what we want. So your left foot, you're gonna be perpendicular to the ground. I'm sorry, not perpendicular. 90-degree angle, please. Thank you. And press those hips. You see now how I'm just kind of like hanging out here? I press my hips forward and I immediately feel a stretch. Okay, starting now. I immediately feel a stretch in my right hip flexor. Pull those shoulders back. Keep that chin high. Head held high. I really do this when I'm sitting on the couch. It's honestly, this is one of the most amazing helpful stretches. My hip flexors get really tight, so this is such a great stretch. You can dance it out a little bit. You think about what you're having for dinner. All right, 20 seconds left. Breathe through the uncomfortableness. All right, guys, you're done in 5 seconds. 3, 2, and switch sides. All right. This is the last time we're doing this, by the way, so that should feel good. Get in that 90-degree angle with your right foot now. Here we go. We press our hips forward. And you are in it, ladies and gentlemen. You can like wiggle around a little bit if you want to. Great job. And we're just Netflix and chilling. Netflix and chilling. Stretching those hip flexors out. This is gonna be your new favorite exercise, I promise. All right, you got 20 seconds. You can do it. You got it. Let it all out. All right, we are going back to those leg lifts. Try, if you didn't last time, to use a benchmark. Try this time to use something to kind of give yourself a bar for where you're at. All right, cool. So I'm gonna start with my right leg this time. So here we go. Your right leg comes out. Your weight is distributed evenly. Your core is tucked in. Do all those little checks before you lift that leg and back down. Try and hold it for at least 3 seconds before you come back down. Good job. This is number 3. Last one. Yeah, okay. Let's switch sides. And now you got your left. Here we go. Just notice the difference. And by the way, a little bit of rocking is totally normal. If you notice yourself going all the way, if you can lift this hand, that's wrong. Weight should be distributed evenly. So if someone comes and pushes me right now, I'm probably not going anywhere. 2 more. Oh yeah, okay. Last one, deep breath. Here we go. Yep, Yep, that feels good. Okay. Last one, we're gonna do our hips. So again, do you see how my knees are right here? And you'll notice, as soon as I put the weight on, that range of motion increases. So now I'm improving the range of motions that my hips can reach, which is exactly what we want. Just improves your mobility. It lets you squat deeper and heavier. If if you're trying to go up in your squats. Let's see, how can I relate it to real life? You can lift your kid up off the ground. My dad used to do this thing called the underdog, where he would like swing us in between his legs. That takes strength. That takes, hip mobility. It takes hip strength, quad strength, all the good things that we are doing right now. And if you want to try an underdog, my dad would be more than happy to show you how to do that. All right, you have 10 seconds left. All right, guys, that is it. You made it. Great job. Hopefully now you can actually go Netflix and chill. Thank you for joining. I love to do this after really heavy leg day or right before, to get my hips and my hip flexors nice and warmed up to lift a lot of weight. So thanks for joining. See you next time.